Hey everyone. So I want to tell you a story. It's a little embarrassing, but it completely changed my life, my relationship with money, and honestly, my happiness. And it all started with one of the most cringy moments I've ever been through. 3 years ago, I was what you'd call surface level successful. I had just landed a great job in my field, making about $85,000 a year. For a 26-year-old, I felt like I had made it. So I did what I thought you were supposed to do. I leased a new car that was probably too expensive. I rented a trendy one-bedroom apartment downtown that ate up almost 40% of my take-home pay. I was a regular at the fancy brunch spot. I bought new gadgets the day they came out, and my fridge was basically a holding cell for Uber Eats leftovers. On paper, I was living the dream. In reality, I was living in a constant, low-grade state of anxiety. I was completely, utterly broke about 3 days before every payday. I was juggling credit card balances, telling myself it was just temporary setup costs for my new life. I never looked at my bank statements. I was too scared. I just swiped my card and hoped for the best. And one Tuesday night, the best did not happen. I was on a second date. I really liked this person, and I was trying to impress them. We went to this cool, little Italian place. Nothing crazy, but nice. The bill comes. It's maybe $70. I confidently hand the server my debit card. He comes back a minute later and leans in quietly. "I'm so sorry," he says, but it was declined. The silence was deafening. I felt my entire face turn hot. I stammered something about transferring money and fumbled for a credit card, praying it would go through. It did, thankfully, but the damage was done. The rest of the date was awkward. There was no third date. I went home that night completely humiliated, not by the date ending, but by the reality of my situation. I was making $85,000 a year, and I didn't have $70 in my bank account for a plate of pasta. That was my rock bottom. The next Saturday, I did what I had been avoiding for years. I brewed a pot of coffee at home, sat down at my kitchen table, and I opened my banking app. I pulled up every statement from the last 6 months. It was a horror show. I was spending almost $1,000 a month on food delivery and restaurants. I had subscriptions to services I forgot I even signed up for. I was paying a premium for convenience at every turn. That's when I decided to fight back. I didn't just want to be better with money. I wanted to be in control. I found the 50-30-20 budget rule online. It's simple. 50% of your after-tax income for needs, 30% for wants, and 20% for savings and debt repayment. My needs, my rent and car, were already way over 50%. That was the first problem. So I made some drastic changes. My lease was up in 3 months. I found a great, slightly smaller apartment a little further from downtown, saving me $600 a month. I sold my fancy leased car back to the dealership, took a small hit, but it was worth it, and bought a reliable 5-year-old used Honda with cash I got from selling a bunch of my new tech and clothes I never wore. That alone freed up $450 a month. I learned to cook. I'm not a chef, but I can make a mean chili and some awesome pasta. I started meal prepping my lunches. My monthly food bill went from nearly $1,000 down to about $350. The formula wasn't complicated. Savings equals income minus expenses. I had spent years trying to increase my income when the real problem was my expenses. And here's the crazy part. The less I spent, the happier I got. I wasn't stressed about payday anymore. Seeing my savings account go from basically $0 to my first $1,000, then $5,000, was a bigger thrill than any new phone or fancy dinner. In the first year after my declined card incident, I paid off my credit card debt entirely and built an emergency fund of over $15,000. All that money I was wasting, it was now buying me something much more valuable: freedom. Freedom from stress, the freedom to quit a job I hated, or to take a vacation without going into debt. It sounds dramatic to say that a failed date and a $70 bill changed my life. But it's true. It was the embarrassing wake-up call I desperately needed. It forced me to stop performing wealth and actually start building it. So if you're feeling stuck like I was, just take a look. Open the app, see where the money is going. It might be scary at first, but it's the first step to taking back control. And trust me, financial peace of mind feels 1,000 times better than any fancy latte tastes. Thanks for listening to my story. If you've had a similar uh-oh money moment, I'd love to read about it in the comments. And hey, maybe subscribe for more stories on how to win with your money. See you next time.